Hello, thanks for tuning in, and today we'll continue with Leigh's route. We're here. Oh, we're standing outside of a large building, with a small line of people leading down the building. It looks pretty innocuous, and all the windows are tinted enough to block any view of the inside. The only hint that this might be a club at all is the throbbing music that's playing so loud it's easy to make out the lyrics. Even out here, I don't recognize it, but if the way Leigh's tail keeps tapping the ground is any hint, he definitely does. Without a word, Leigh leads me to the back of the line, and there's a surge of anxiety that bubbles in my head. I've never been anywhere near a club or anything like that. The closest I've been is a restaurant that had a bar inside it. By comparison, Leigh looks as cool as ever and doesn't seem nervous in the slightest. That small bit of hesitancy I saw back in my apartment has vanished. If anything, he looks more at ease than I've ever seen him. But he must have noticed my anxiety because he brings a hand to my neck and gently runs his claws through my fur. It's a most subdued show of affection, but it causes a thrill through me all the same. Just relax. No one will question you if you just act like you belong. Okay? You'll be fine. I make sure to follow Leigh's instructions and there isn't any problem. The closest we get is a bouncer at the door looking over me like he was scrutinizing every aspect of my being, but once he looks over at Leigh, there's just a single nod and we're let in. The two of them must know each other from where, but I didn't ask. I can't ask. The moment we walked inside, all previous thoughts are washed away. The inside of the club is filled with strobing lights of different colors and booming dance music that feels like it's rattling my bones as it vibrates the floor. It's a barrage of stimuli that I've never experienced before. It isn't as packed out as I had been expecting, but a good amount of the tables and stalls are filled with what I can only assume are also college students. But the main attraction is the dance floor, situated in the center of the club, right in front of the DJ. It isn't anything too fancy, but the floors are still flashing in a pattern of colors, mesmerizing me until Leigh snaps me out of it. You doing okay, kid? You look overwhelmed. I'm okay. I've just never been somewhere like this before. There's so many people. Actually, this is pretty quiet. People will start to pack in later tonight. I think that would be too much for you. So we'll head out before this. It gets more filled up than this. Why was there a line then? That was just to check for IDs. Come on. We should move before someone else tries to come in. We're blocking the entrance. Right, sorry. Leigh takes the initiative and leads me to a less occupied area with a large couch that looks like a combination of three different ones to make a U shape. There's a small stool-like table at the corners for drinks, but nothing more. Well, I'm barely able to take that in as my attention is stolen by Leigh's tail, which has been bouncing to the music since the moment we walked in. He collapses onto it without a care in the world, leaning his head back with his eyes closed. I never seen him look so relaxed. He's adjusted to this atmosphere instantly like he's meeting up with some old friends, but I feel extremely out of place. I know Leigh said that no one would care what I'm wearing, but everyone looks so stylish compared to me. My fingers start to fidget, and I bring my focus back to Leigh in an attempt to quell the anxiety bubbling in my stomach. And it's like his whole body is flowing to the beat, making him look antsy to move. Do you want to dance? You kind of look like you want to. Not yet. You're a bit too jumpy for that. I am? He doesn't even open his eyes, but it feels like he's staring directly into my soul, but it isn't judgmental, more like he's worried about me. Kid, your eyes are darting around like you're worried the place is going to come down. Come sit down before you pass out. But, okay, I'll swallow my pride and come to sit down next to him. It's the correct choice as I can feel some of the tension melt away as I sit and enjoy the atmosphere. There we go, feeling a little better. I think so. This place is a little too much. I used to think so too when I first came. Why did you start going to clubs? I didn't think this would have been your scene with how much of a stick in the mud I am. I didn't mean it like that. It's okay. Charlie calls me that a lot. She's always telling me how I used to be cool. I think you're cool. You're like one of the coolest guys I've ever met. He raises his eyebrow at that end. It feels like he doesn't believe me, but he doesn't press me on it. I started going to clubs in high school. I didn't want to go home. So I would sneak into clubs that I knew wouldn't card me. There are more sleazy places that don't care, and that worked for me. They weren't nice places, but my father hated it, and that was all the more reason for me to do it. He did it just because it would piss your dad off. I did a lot of things out of spite. They weren't smart choices, and I often paid for them later. He stills uncomfortably, and for a moment, I swear I see him reach down for his scar, but it might have just been my imagination. But they were worth it every time. What happened? He doesn't answer immediately, and it looks like he's seriously contemplating whether or not he should give me an answer, but I don't have to wait long for it. Tonight was supposed to be a fun tonight was supposed to be a night for fun. That's what I promised Lily and Bethany. They both kicked my ass if I wasted my chance. He lifts himself off of the couch, forcing me to steady myself, as a sudden loss of weight nearly causes me to lose my balance, much to Lee's amusement. The smile he gives me as he offers his hand is enough to bring the heat back to my face and reminds me why we're here, even if neither of us want to admit it. Do you want to dance? It might get your mind off everything. I don't know. Don't worry about what others are going to think of you. They don't care. Everyone started somewhere. It's like he's reading my mind, and it's hard to not take him up on the offer. He looks so much more relaxed to be here than I've ever seen him, and I want to see more of it. Yeah, okay, I'll try, but I don't know how to dance. Most people don't. Just bounce to the music. Do whatever feels good. This ain't no competition. We're here to forget our city problems, even for just a night. Forget our problems, huh? There's a lot of things I could do without. Maybe this is exactly what I need tonight, so without giving myself another chance for my brain to talk me out of it, I grab his hand and pull myself to my feet. I expect him to let go, but he keeps hold and guides me to the dance floor where everyone's bouncing to the music. Just like Leigh said, no one looks like they're paying attention to each other. It's like they're in their own worlds. I expected Leigh to take us to a quiet corner, but he pulls me right to the middle. There's enough space for everyone to have their own area, at least with the amount of people here now, but I can imagine this gets packed tight when there's more people. Despite everyone being an arm's length away, I feel claustrophobic being this close to people. There must have been a quiet corner with little people that we could have gone to, right? You stand out more dancing by yourself. I'm barely able to hear him over the music, which is blaring. I'm barely able to hear him over the music, which is blaring as loud as here than anywhere else in the club. He's having to lean down, shout, and I'm still barely able to make out what he's saying. But he's always swaying to the music, though. It's clear from the way his tail and hips are swaying that he's eager to do more than just bouncing to the beat. Trust me, kid, as long as you don't give a shit, no one else will either. And I'll be here the whole time. Just dance with me. Do you feel nervous? He takes a step closer to me, and I have to resist the urge to jump as I feel the tip of his tail curl around my own, but it's enough to catch my breath in my throat. But he makes no big deal out of it like this touch. Is it something as intimate? Is it something as intimate as holding hands? The boldness in his eyes feels like he wants me to challenge him on this, but I don't want him to let go. Just that small contact is more than enough to make me feel more assured than I've been since we got in here. You good? With the way he's been slowly scrubbing away my doubts, the way he's looking at me like I'm some child he needs to protect is still enough to get under my skin. So I channel all the confidence I'm able to muster and reach out to grab his hand. My fingers are shaking and I can feel my face is hard enough that I already know is peeking through my fur. But for once, I don't give a damn. I don't want to be that quiet kid I used to be in high school who hid in the library missing the brother he was never getting back. I don't need a replacement, and I certainly don't need Leigh to be one. What about you? You look like you're holding back. That sock on his face is more than worth it, and the way it sifts into a sultry smile that makes my heart flutter is nearly enough to have me tripping over my feet. This must be a glimpse of who Leigh used to be in high school, and I wanted to see more of it. Charlie's right. Leigh deserves more than to set away everything he likes, because if there is one thing I'm certain about, I've never seen Leigh look more alive. It took a while for me to get into it. I might have been brave enough to take Leigh's hand and take a step forward, but I still had no idea what I was doing. But dance with Leigh, if you can call my bouncing and bobbing dancing, is a lot more fun than I had expected. I've been worried that I let him down or embarrassed myself, but he never looked at me like that. He just looked excited, both for his chance to indulge in something he must have been depriving himself for so long, and for how much I seem to be enjoying it. Lily was right. Oscar does know what he's talking about. When we first entered and I nearly fell over in a nervous heap, he looked so unsure about his choice to take us here. But now that I'm beginning to get into it, it's like he's unshackling himself as well. There has always been a distance between Leigh and me that I've only been vaguely aware of. Whether that's because Leigh viewed me as someone younger or someone he deemed too innocent has caused us to be close but not open. I wouldn't push him to reveal the private stories he has, but I wish he would rely on me more instead of another person to look after. But right here, as he dances so close to me that I can feel our bodies briefly touch over and over again, it's like we're in a different world than the world outside. Right now, there aren't any problems at home, no baggage waiting for us. Just beyond those doors, no diary filled with tragic stories. There's only the rhythm and the body heat between us. More people have entered the dance floor, but I barely notice them. I'm too invested in the atmosphere and the possum in front of me, who doesn't look like he has a care in the world. Our eyes meet and I can feel my ears burning, but I don't let that ruin the flow that the two of us have between us, nor do I want to douse that fire in Leigh's eyes. It's full of passion and something I can't place. He takes a step closer and grabs my arm, pulling me closer as I allow him to guide me. Suddenly, I'm facing away from him as the two of us let the music control us. His body is so close to me that I can feel his body heat against my back, and I'm forced to shove my tail between his legs. My back stiffens as he wraps his tail around my own, squeezing it tightly enough that I can feel it through my spine. But nothing can prepare me for the hot breath that brushes against my ear, and he whispers into it. Careful, I don't want to step on your tail. But why, thanks. Neither of us acknowledges it further and just continue dancing. Our occasional brushes turn into a near constant. With the lack of distance between us, it should make things awkward, but it doesn't. I look out amongst the people to see if our closeness is being noticed by others, but I'm surprised to see that that not only are people giving us no attention, but many of them are even closer than we are. Taking a glance over my shoulder, I can see that even Leigh is treating this like it's completely normal. I guess this is just how things. I guess it's just how they do things. I guess it's just how. I guess this is just. I guess this is just how they do things, or a club, at a club. I shouldn't think about it too much. It's just like Leigh said. We should just go with the flow and enjoy ourselves. I wouldn't mind being as close to Leigh as the peers around us are. Taking a glance over my shoulder, I can see that even Leigh is treating this like it's completely normal. I guess this is just how they do things at a club. I shouldn't think about it too much. It's just like Leigh said, we should just go with the flow and enjoy ourselves. I wouldn't mind being as close to Leigh as the pair around us are. If Oscar is right about Leigh, if I take a step forward, he'll follow after me, right? I have to stop overthinking everything. If I do, I'm going to psych myself out. I've always been a type to get closer, but I've always been a type to get lost in my head. I just need to take this step back to close that final gap between us. I don't think I could do what everyone else was doing, but Leigh will know what to do. Wallace, was that too much? Sorry, I'm trying to pull away, but Leigh puts a hand on my hip, pulling me back against him until we're just as close as the people around us. I barely need to turn my head to see Leigh's face over my shoulder. You're fine. Let me show you how it's done. The smile on his face is filled with excitement and hunger, but that I would have never thought I'd see from him. It's enough to make my throat dry and my heart race enough that I'm glad he doesn't have a clear view of my face. Is this alright, Wallace? Hearing him call me by my name sends that final thrill up my spine, obliterating that final remains of that worried, nagging voice in my heart. Yes, yeah, I like that. It's really cute when you do that. He pulls me closer until my butt's pressed up against what I can only assume is his crotch, and I let out a squeak that has him chuckling as my tail's forced out of his embrace. I feel like I should be more worried about how fast things are going, but I don't want to lose this pace or this thrill. It's like we're sliding down a hill. I don't want either of us to stop. Not wanting to let Leigh do all the work, I push back against him until it isn't just my butt against him, but my entire back is grinding against him. There we go. Now you're getting it. Am I doing it right? You're a natural. His praise is already enough on its own, but the growl that accompanies it is just as encouraging. It makes me want to keep going, to take us further and further, to lose ourselves in the beat. Next thing I know, the two of us are dancing together as one. There's no awkward tension between us or any part of ourselves we're trying to hide. It's only us, the beat, and the atmosphere of many dancers around us. As we move from song to song, the less our inhibitions hold us back. Leigh's hands explore my hips as his nose traces the length of my neck, sending shockwaves through me. It's only at this moment do I regret how overdressed I am. I wonder how much Leigh would touch if I was wearing as little as he was, but then again, it wouldn't be me. There wouldn't be those tantalizing moments where my shirt rides up and I can feel just a glimpse of his exposed stomach on my lower back. The warm metal in his navel. There wouldn't be those tantalizing moments where my shirt rides up and I can feel just a glimpse of his exposed stomach on my lower back, the warm metal as his navel feels burning hot whenever it presses against my skin. Our combined panting only increases, and it's hard to tell whether it's from the physical exertion or the heat between us. I can feel a drop of sweat drip from his nose over my ear, causing me to gasp. And that looks to be the final straw for Leigh. He whips me around until we're both facing each other again. I'm not able to get a single word out before he's already grabbing my hips and closed the gap between us. We're not as close as we were before, but there's an intimacy that comes from staring right at each other, seeing just what we've been doing to the other. Leigh's dripping with sweat from his drenched hair all the way down to the matted fur around his stomach, allowing me to see all the details that are usually hidden by his short fur in clearer detail. His deep breaths make the muscles around his stomach even more prominent, and I can't deny that all the grinding has caused my judgment to be clouded. My body feels like it's on fire, and I can feel my shirt sticking to me from all the sweat. Every winter is not usually cold in the autumn, but it would be generous to call it anything more than mildly warm. But right now, it feels like I've gone through a furnace, and I don't want it to stop. It doesn't look like Leigh wants it to either. Leigh wants it to either as he leans his head forward until there's only a more distance between us. His eyes look like shining emeralds that I can't tear myself away from them. Neither of us need to say anything. It's like we can reach each other's thoughts. We don't want this to stop, even if it might be a bad idea. It's impulsive and everything I've needed. From the wide grin on Leigh's face, this is everything he needed as well. Not that I needed to see anything to tell how much he's enjoying this. The iron grip he has on me is more than enough of a sign. As the next song begins and the thumping beat feels like it's pulsing through my bones, we continue our movements, but everything is more erratic and we're barely able to keep our hands to ourselves. He explores every inch of my back with his nose, his hot breath leaving a trail along it, leaving a trail along it. He explores every inch of my neck with his nose, his hot breath. He explores every inch of my neck with his nose, his hot breath leaving a trail along it that I'm forced to close my eyes just to lose myself in the sensations. My hands explore his shamelessly exposed body. The damp stomach feels like a fire against my fingers, one that Leigh only stokes as he pushes against my touches. My absent mind doesn't think as it brushes up against his scar, but Leigh doesn't pull away. He only grows and lashes a hand to grab my own. I expected him to pull it away, but he only encourages me to explore it further. Every time my claw grazes the damaged tissue, he lets out another gravelly growl and a hot blast of air against me, only fueling me to explore further. My other hand trails everywhere I could, his pierced belly button, his hips that are exposed by his pants that have only gotten lower throughout the night, his chest that his damp crop top clings to. But it isn't until I explore behind him that I find another spot as my fingers trace the base of his tail, causing him to stiffen and gasp, turning our light touching into something more as he grinds himself with even more intensity. Fuck, Wallace. 2 months? Fuck no. Our touching only continues as Leigh gets more and more riled up as I can only feel myself raising to join him. It's like the club around us has entirely disappeared as only the two of us, except we're not anything strange. Everyone here is grinding on someone just like we are. I understand how Leigh came back here over and over again. It's so thrilling, especially with someone that makes you feel the way Leigh makes me feel. He manages to compose himself and pull away until we're staring at each other's faces again. His hair is a mess and it's falling over his face. He looks like he's barely able to keep control, but I know he'd never take advantage of me. His eyes look closer to a wild animal, and his deep panting reminds me of an animal chasing its prey. It just makes him look like the hottest guy I've ever seen, and I want to see more of this side of him. I caress those sensitive spots I found, and his eyes roll back as he gives out another primal growl before he yanks me against him and presses our lips together, causing my body to freeze and my brain to stop. Suddenly, neither of us are dancing anymore. We're not grinding, nor are we exploring each other's bodies. Now it's like the tension that's been bubbling between us is finally boiling over. My inexperience is vastly overshadowed by his aggression. I'm barely able to get my bearings as my head spins, and the moment my mouth opens, his tongue is thrusting itself inside to explore every inch of my mouth. His hand on my hip only grips it tighter as he pulls me against him, his other hand on the back of my neck to keep me steady as he continues his assault. I'm barely able to hold on to him to keep myself from losing my balance. It's not elegant. It's filled with raw emotion and primal need. There's no thought in either of our actions or the desires that neither of us have been able to explore since we met on that first day. But I don't ever want it to stop. My heart's racing. I can feel my lungs burning with the need for oxygen, but I don't dare break the kiss. Who knows if we'll ever get to this point again. Except that isn't up to me. Leigh's eyes widen and he yanks himself, leaving the two of us panting, and this time I know it's not from the dancing. He looks confused and a little ashamed. Shit, fuck me. Is everything alright? Did I mess up? No, it wasn't. Fuck me. That was stupid. Why did I do that? What do you mean? You didn't enjoy it? No, I mean, yes, I did, but it was... Oh, fuck. You didn't do anything wrong. It was all me. Leigh just runs a hand across his face, and I'm not able to get anything other than a few stammering words out before he's storming through the crowd. I try to race after him, but the crowds of people made traversing through the dance floor difficult. The amount of people here has grown significantly since we came. There's barely any spare room left for people. Through intense effort and a few yelps, as my tail is stomped numerous times, I'm finally able to pop out the other end to just catch Leigh stomping through the door with his head in his hands. I rush out to exit only to discover that the sun has fully set. Since it's a Saturday night, there's still plenty of people walking down the main street, and I'm still able to catch Leigh's tail as he turns down a nearby alleyway. There's a surge of fear at the idea of going down there in the middle of the night, but I can't just leave Leigh there by himself, especially after what just happened. There's clearly something wrong. It's my job to help. I have to be the one who helps. So I still any nerves and head after him into the darkness, moving from the bright city street to this alleyway devoid of any street lights. It takes some time for my eyes to adjust, and I stumble into a nearby trash can. The whole thing crashes over with a loud clang that echoes off the walls, destroying any chance I had for a self-told entrance. I'm able to see Leigh leaning with his back against the wall, his face buried in one of his hands. The only indication he heard a sound at all is one of his ears twitching, but he shows no sign of moving. He doesn't look as upset as I'd been expecting. When he walked out, he just looked tired and disappointed, and I don't think it's with me. I take a few more cautious steps towards him, Not out of any fear that he might lash out at me, just but just so I don't give him any socks. Clearly, whatever just happened has upset him, even if I don't know what. I'm only able to get a few steps closer before he looks over at me with as gentle of a smile as he can muster, but it doesn't look convincing. Sorry about that, kid. I'll take you home in a second. I shouldn't have done that. Done what? Kiss you or touch you like that, and all it wasn't inappropriate. Wait a minute. Kiss you or touch you like that at all. It wasn't appropriate. Why not? Do you not enjoy it? No, I did. I mean, damn it. Listen, this wasn't your fault. I overstepped. That's all this was. You didn't overstep. I really enjoyed it. I hope my words would comfort him, but it only makes him run his hand through his hair, like raking his claws through it would reveal some mystical answer hidden underneath. But I can't back down now. I feel like this is my best chance to finally confront Leigh about everything that's been going on between us. There's no way he can act like nothing's happened. Well, there's nothing. After, well, there's nothing way. There's no way he can act like there's nothing now after what just happened. I can still feel my skin tingling through each strand of fur that his body touched. And I know he felt that seismic shock waves that shot through our bodies whenever he whenever we touched. I saw it in his eyes. I can't just let this moment go. Leigh, kid, please just hear me out. He looks like he's about to interrupt me again, but he stops himself with a torn expression before giving a nod. The emotions swirling in the green of his eyes are confusing. It's both hopeful and full of dread. I really like you. Sorry, I'm not very good at this, but you're really handsome and kid, this isn't a good idea. I'm sorry for what I did back there. It was responsible of me. Huh? Back there, I shouldn't have touched you like that across the line. But I wanted it to. I know you were enjoying it too. I could see it. I don't get it. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Because you shouldn't be looking at me like that. His raised voice causes me to jump and take a step back in surprise. It's full of too many emotions to put into words, but all of them are drowned in the silence that comes afterwards. The hurt that smothered every inch of his face the moment I moved away from him makes me wish I could take it back and hold my ground with as much conviction as I can feel inside. But it's clear that damage was more than enough to start a war. You should be with one of the other guys. You and Lucas are perfect for each other. That kid always brightens up whenever you talk to him. But, or shit, even Oscar would be a better fit. He might be a bit reckless, but he's a good guy deep down. Plus, he's certainly a looker. You have to. You. Or Sid, even Oscar would be a better fit. He might be a bit reckless, but he's a good guy deep down. Plus he's certainly a looker. You have struck gold with him. But I don't want them. I'm interested in you. You shouldn't be. I'm not the kind of guy you should be with. Why not? I can feel my face heating up for an entirely different reason than what's been causing it for the rest of the night, and I can see that same frustration bubbling on Leigh as well. You're just a fucking kid. I'm not a child, I'm an adult. You're only a few years older than me. It's complicated. No, it isn't. I can see that sometimes you see me for me, and it's the best feeling, but then you look at me like I'm just someone to be protected. I can't be what you need. I need to take care of my sister. I don't have time for this. Leigh, is an excuse and we both know it, but I can't bring myself to call him out on it. It's not fair to him, but it's unfair to me as well. He buries his face back into his hands for a moment as he takes a deep breath before walking towards me. I expect him to try to leave again, but he stops to pull me against his chest again. You shouldn't be with someone like me. I ain't worth your time. I got too many things I have to take care of. What about you? Are you going to take care of yourself? He stumbles away from me, looking sought, and I know that I'm mirroring the same expression. I haven't lost my temper since that night. I begin to feel lightheaded and have to steady myself on the wall, my eyes burning and holding back tears that I can't truly explain why they're bubbling up. It doesn't take a second for Leigh to snap out of his stupor and dart to hold me steady. Said Kit Wallace, you do okay? So I didn't mean to yell. I just wish you care about yourself more. You're doing so much, but you never doing anything for yourself. I brought you here, didn't I? Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. All of it. Damn, I got myself in deep, didn't I? Leigh stopped meeting my eyes, but I could see the tips of his eyes turning a friendly shade of pink. There's still that mix of frustration, but there's a playfulness and fat in it. Huh? You enjoyed it that much? Definitely, I mean it. I needed my feelings to get through them. You want to go back there sometime? I think so. It was kind of scary at first, and if I'm being honest, my legs feel like jelly, but I had a lot of fun. You're truly nothing like Charlie. Isn't that a good thing? I'm just me. Yeah, you are. His sentence trails off as he stares up at the night sky. Any semblance of the sun is completely. Let's get back to my place. It's closer. I hadn't expected it to get this late. I must have lost track of time. Does that mean you had a good time too? Despite my simple question, he hesitates because we both know what I'm truly asking him. Did he enjoy all of it? Said, yeah, I did. Now hold on right there. Don't get your hopes up. I'm not saying we're doing anything like that again. It feels strange to see you like that. To me, there's still a part of you that sees you that naive kid I first met in that university room. But I was never a kid. I'm not so sure about that, but we'll talk about this at home. You'll freeze to death in just that shirt. I glare at his exposed stomach, but he doesn't acknowledge it, opting to wrap her arm around me without a moment's hesitation. Let me keep you warm. And I'll keep you warm too. To emphasize my point, I wrap my arms around his stomach, encasing it in a small band of thick fur. I've always been fluffy, even for a weasel, so it'll keep us both warm. After everything we just did in the nightclub, touching him here doesn't feel as awkward as it did before, and he doesn't even tense up as I do it. But that doesn't stop my heart rate from spiking. And for what I can feel coming from him, it sounds like he just ran a marathon with how much he's pounding away. But neither of us say anything as we walk back from the house. The streets are filled with people, but most of them are just students enjoying their weekend now. It doesn't take us long before we get off the main road and onto one of the quiet side streets. It should feel more eerie, but it's hard to feel scared. If anything, I just feel exhausted. I can't tell if it's from the dancing or the adrenaline wearing off. Tired? I didn't realize dancing could be so exhausting. It's a good workout. You should try it more. I do love music. I think I could get into that. But you have to teach me. Deal. Things truly calmed down between us by the time we made it back. Leigh's apartment, there's still a bit of tension, but it's nowhere near the blow up we just had. I can't help but feel like it was a good time though. It felt good, and not just because it was with Leigh. The last time I gotten into an argument with someone like that has been years. After Marcus died, I isolated myself away and rarely spent much time around anymore. It's almost cathartic in a way to fight and argue with someone that you care about. I can't tell what's going through Leigh's head, but he occasionally catches my eyes and hesitate before looking away. I can't tell what's that supposed to mean. We're outside his door by the time I'm able to get the courage to finally address everything. Leigh said we talk about it later, but I don't think he wanted us bringing the drama to his home. Leigh just tried to unlock the door, but the moment his hand grabbed the handle, it gave way and opened it, and opened up, is unlocked, and from the confusion on Leigh's face, this isn't normal. He hastily pushes inside, and I'm left darting after him, nearly smacking into the door along the way, but Leigh doesn't even take notice as she shouts out in panic. Charlotte? Charlotte, what? I nearly slam into him as he stops, barely managing to catch myself on the edge of the kitchen counter to see what had been going on. I'd expected the absolute worst, but what I didn't expect was to see Charlie sitting on one of the sofas, staring into the distance as he holds something in her lap. It takes me a moment before I'm able to make out there's an envelope that's been torn open and there's contents likely red. For a moment I thought that she couldn't see us, but she looks over to Leigh with such contempt I worry that they might get into a fight then and there. But they don't. Leigh just walks over and sits next to her, putting a reasonable distance between the two of them. Whatever's going on, it's clear that he knows what he's doing. It would be best if I just stayed out of the way. You okay? What happened? She doesn't say anything, just hands him the letter. He hesitates for a moment, clearly wanted to check in on her before reading whatever mail they'd gotten, but he must have figured it would be easier to start with it. He sits there for a nearly half a minute reading before Charlie interrupts him, telling him the gist of what it says. It's about Dad. He's dead. A fucking car crash? Can't you believe it? After fucking everything he put us through, he just drinks and drives one time and suddenly it's all fucking over? That's it? Watching Charlie yelling at Leigh suddenly makes me feel like I'm intruding on something I shouldn't be here for, so I'm forced to awkwardly stand behind the empty sofa. Leigh's just ignoring her and continuing to read the letter. All motion has drained from his face, and he's just looking down at the letter with a blank stare on his face. Asks, say something. Charlotte. Don't Charlotte me. Don't patronize me. Sorry. You know I didn't mean it like that. How do you mean it then? You're not going to say we're going to the funeral, right? Of course not. So what's the problem then? Shouldn't we be celebrating? He's gone forever. He was already gone. We hadn't heard from him in years. What? Are you sad that he's dead? Really? After everything he did to us, to you? You're telling me that you're still sad that piece of shit's gone? He wasn't. I'm not listening to you. Try to defend him. She didn't even wait for him to say anything else as he stormed off over to her door, not acknowledging my presence a single time, and I see that her eyes were red and glassy, but she's managed to hold back any tears. But she doesn't disappear into her room, not right away at least. She looks back at Leigh, who's now still at the ground, where the letter fell with a torn expression. Alright. Alright, just forget it. I'll see you tomorrow. Don't wake me up when you fuck your boyfriend. There's none of that teasing tone that she normally has, but I can tell she doesn't hold any resentment to me. It was just a cruel sentence to stab at Leigh, and if the wince he made is any indication, it hit. She closed the door with a loud thud that echoes throughout the room, and I can only hope none of the neighbors were asleep. It might be the weekend, but it's still close to 10. We don't say anything as Leigh picks back up the letter off the floor. He stares at it for a few moments longer before tossing it onto the kitchen bench with a sigh. You don't have to stand over there. You can come in. She's not upset at you. She's not upset at you. She loves you. I don't know if she cares about me that much. We've only known each other a few days. So have we. But that didn't stop us. It was the first real announcement we had about what happened, but it's still just dipping his toes into the water, and I can tell this isn't the time to push further. What happened? Your dad died, right? You don't have to tell me if it makes you uncomfortable. It's okay. I've been meaning to talk to you about it sometime soon. Now is as good of a time as any. You might want to sit down. You've been on your feet all day. I bet your legs are killing you. Now that he mentions it, my legs are aching pretty badly. Not only did Lily and Charlie drag me around all day, but we just danced for hours before walking home. I'm surprised I can still stand. I haven't been very active since middle school, and I haven't had that much exercise since gym class back in high school. Collapsing on the free couch in front of me, Leigh comes to sit next to me, placing her arm around my shoulder in the process. I thought it might have been for my comfort, but looking at his face, it's clear that he's the one searching for comfort. This must not be an easy topic for him to talk about, and I'm glad he's leaning on me for once. My dad was an awful man. He really took care of us at all. He spent all his day at work and then come home drunk from a night with his friends or sit in front of the TV. He wouldn't cook us dinner, nor would he acknowledge us unless he was in a bad mood. Those days were always the hardest. I was able to protect Charlie from the worst of it. It gave her as good of a childhood as I could, but she still saw the things that went down. But you're sad that he's dead? It's complicated. He may have been an asshole piece of shit, but he was still my father. Charlie might remember all the bad times, but she doesn't remember when things weren't so bad. What do you mean? Before our mother died, he used to be a great dad. He would take us out for ice cream every Saturday. He taught me how to fix a car. We do everything as a family back then, but then she got sick and died. She'd been a cancer survivor and relapsed. That had been a hard year, but she died and she wasn't the same after that. It started with just drinking. I'd been 12 or 13 then. It wasn't so bad, not really. He was drunk every night, so at least he ignored us. But then he began to get angry. The house got a lot worse after that, but we got out of there and he let us go. Never contacted us again. I wouldn't be surprised if he forgot us. Despite his best effort, sadness trickled into his voice, contrasted heavily against how composed he looks. Charlie's right. I should be glad he's gone. He's a bad person who did bad things. But I can't help but still remember the days when things weren't so bad. It makes him hard to completely despise him. I don't think it's wrong for you to think that way. Really? Just because someone became a bad person doesn't mean you can't miss how things used to be. Oh no, I do. He didn't respond to that, but I could tell he's deep in his thoughts. It doesn't look like he expected me to agree with him. We stayed like that for several minutes before he shifts around, forcing me to lean away from him as he pulls his legs onto the sofa, causing him to face me. Huh? But I'm not able to get the word out as he latches onto me again and pulls me against him, my back pressed against his chest and stomach, similar to how we'd been dancing just before. Except this time he wraps both his arms and legs around me, making himself into a cocoon around me. Even his head is resting on top of my own. It's something so casual but so intimate at the same time. The warmth is almost overwhelming, and all I can smell is his scent without the smell of the club's alcohol overwhelming. His useful motor oil smell is completely gone, replaced with his personal scent alongside some flowery perfume that I can only assume belongs to Charlie. Oh, thanks for listening. It's nothing, really. It's what friends do, right? He, his chuckle vibrates through my entire body, and the sensation is strange enough that I can't help but giggle alongside him. Oscar's right. You are cute. I don't try to be. I know, but you just are. I've been unfair to you. What do you mean? I've just been seeing you the way I wanted to, even if it wasn't true. You're not just some kid, Leigh. I still think you're a little too naive and much too trusting for your own good. And you don't take care of yourself at all. And you stick your nose where it didn't belong. If it was a bad idea, hey. And you always get on my case about what I'm doing, even if it didn't concern you at all. Well, that's just how you are, isn't it? Maybe that's why I began feeling the way I did. Wait, what? I can feel my heart racing in my chest, thundering so loud that I'm worried I might miss what he says next. No matter how much I try not to, you always just keep surprising me, and I found that exciting. Then, before I realized it, you kept catching my eye in another way. But I wasn't worried, I just ignored you. But then you started so interested in me too, and everything got so much harder. I was just being me. Guess that means you did damn good then. We fell back into silence again, and we let that revelation sit between us. He hardly, he hadn't directly said it, but it was still an admission nonetheless, an acknowledgement of the tension between us. Does that mean we could be boyfriends? I don't know, kid. Shit, I mean Wallace. It's okay, I know you mean it as a term of endearment. There you go again, surprising me. I truly haven't been giving you enough credit. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if dating is the best idea. I begin to interrupt him, but he nuzzles his nose against the back of my neck, making me yelp in surprise instead. But I might be willing to give it a try. Really? Might. I might be. Things are a fucking mess right now, and I just don't mean to sit with my dad. That's the least of my problems. But you wanted this too, right? Yes, I have been. I think everyone's been expecting us too. I know, Charlie has been on my ass about it the entire week. Was it true that you had a crush on me back then? I don't think I'd call it a crush, but you held my attention. I guess she saw an opportunity and pounced on it. Leigh noticed it pretty quickly and said she knew that you returned my feelings too. Of course he did. I'm guessing you talked to her about it? Just to try and get my feelings straight. It has been a confusing time. I still know she was a gossip. I'm glad she told me. It helped me find the courage to take a step forward. Oscar did too. Don't look so surprised. He gave me advice and everything. I can only imagine what that was. It wasn't what you expect. Most of it was telling me to make sure I was relaxed into it, because if I was, you'd be too. Looks like I don't give any of you enough credit. So where do we stand? We'll just continue with how things are going as it is. I fucked around a lot when I was younger, but never something as committed as a boyfriend. I think taking it slow is the best. Just know that I'm interested, even if it's still a little strange. I'll take it. Getting all excited over this isn't helping your case. Huh? I'm kidding. You're very adorable when you get excited. I wouldn't want you to stop that for anything. Not even me. Well, that goes both ways, okay? What do you mean? The side that you showed me today, I love seeing you like that too. I really hope you don't feel the need to hide it away. I know how you are. It's a part of you too, and I love that part of you as well. I just keep seeing both parts of you. Wallace, I mean it. I know you do. As if to prove his point, he leans down and noses my cheek. It's an affectionate gesture, and it isn't as intimate of a as it isn't as intimate of a one as I'm hoping, and I can tell from the yearning in his eyes that he wants more too. But we understand that we're taking our time for now, and we don't need to rush things just yet. I think it's time we get some sleep. I want us to get up early for something if that's okay with you. Oh, sure. So I gesture over to the free couch and try to slide out Lee's grip, but he doesn't budge. In fact, he just pulls me tight against him. Do you think you could sleep with me again tonight? I like feeling your body against me. Sure, I think. I think I like that a lot as well. It doesn't take long for Leigh to pull the blanket that had been stretched out over the back of the sofa and lay it over us. He never let me out his grasp the entire time, even as we shift down into a more comfortable sleeping position, but soon enough we're on our side as Leigh continues to spoon me. But I can't complain about it. It's everything that I've been wanting and seeing this more. Aggressive side of Leigh always gets my heart racing in the best of ways. There's no more words changed between us, only silence. The rest of the day is catching up to us in exhaustion. Well, as exhaustion floods my senses, and before I know it, I'm out like a light and blood into my ears. There's no more words changed between us, only silence. The rest of the day is catching up to us as exhaustion floods my senses, and before I know it, I'm out like a light and plunged into my room. There's no more words changed between us, only silence. The rest of the day is catching up to us as exhaustion floods my senses, and before I know it, I'm out like a light and plunged into my dreams. Once I'm gonna go ahead and stop. I don't know why he's doing that. Like, it just flips back to the menu without, like sometimes I might press this button and sometimes it goes back to the menu for some reason. But anyway, this is the point where I wanted to stop at anyway, so. Alright, so Leigh was pretty honest with Wallace about his, what complaints he has about him. I don't know if complaints, but basically things that kind of has Leigh's attention or concern. I don't know, maybe it's like a mixture of concern and complaints, but basically like him getting on Wallace getting on Leigh's case about things that has nothing to do with him. So I agree with that, and I also agree with him about Leigh being too naive. I think he's way too naive and maybe a little too trusting people. I mean, you kind of have to be on your guard around people. But I think he's a little innocent, really. So I do agree with Leigh on what he said about Wallace there. I can't even speak. These my lips get dry real quick, and it makes me mumble words. Anyway, so the club didn't quite go the way they were expecting to go. I mean, they did have a good time, but up until that last part where Leigh just kind of, like you come out of your senses. Like you're stuck on something and it feels good, and all of a sudden somehow you get back into your senses and you realize it was a mistake and what you did, you didn't mean to do it, and you just stop doing it and just feel ashamed of what he did. That's how Leigh was. What I think happens that Leigh probably thought Wallace didn't want it, or at least he thought he was abusing Wallace, and Wallace had to tell him multiple times that he wanted it and that he actually enjoyed it. So I guess after them talking, I think they're kind of like on a more better page, at least I think they are. But again, what happened in the club with Leigh, and that so that they're not entirely on the same page yet. There's still some discovery that they have to do for each other. So this is a relationship that they'll just have to just keep getting to know each other and take things slow. That's how Leigh wanted it to go. After their discussion they had, Leigh just decided to take things slow. And that's the same way with Oscar and his route. He wanted to take things slow with Wallace. It's kind of surprising of Oscar. He's usually really fast, but there's some trauma with him too. If you read his route, and he wanted to take things slow. I mean, yeah, he's kind of like this wild guy if you read Leigh and Lucas's roots, but if you read his route, then there are more things to Oscar than just what we see of him. Yeah, there's some things going on with him also. All right, so um, Leigh and Charlie's father died. He got killed in a car crash, and while while Charlie seemed to be happy, I guess, that her father died. Well, she certainly didn't care that he died, and she just is more like a good riddance kind of scenario for her. Like he just didn't care about her father because she knew nothing but bad from her father. Leigh, he turns out well he did say a lot of bad stuff about his father. Not saying that's not true. I mean, yeah, he was a bad father. There was also a part of him that still sort of held some regard for his father because there were some because I like Charlie where she dealt with only the negative parts of her father. Leigh did remember some good memories of his father when his father would take him out for ice cream and stuff like that. So he must have been somewhat decent in the beginning, and then somehow things got worse. I guess their mother's death made the father even worse. So I guess so. So I guess that's the reason why Leigh was so hesitant when Charlie told him what happened to the father, and why Charlie got angry and stormed away from him because Charlie was happy that her father was dead, but she got mad at Leigh for apparently thinking that she probably thought that Leigh missed his father, and she was very angry because of all the horrible stuff the father did to him. Why would you miss somebody like that? So I guess that's the reason why. I mean, Leigh doesn't really care about his father at all. And he's not really. I mean, he'll move on easily with his father being dead, but in my view, and he's really didn't have any nice thing to say, but he did have some good memories with his father, something that Charlie did not have. And that made him pause at that moment. So Charlie didn't like that and see stormed off. So, but it's understandable now. He did have some good memories with his father, while Charlie didn't have really any good memories at all with her father. So, yeah, two slightly different experiences between them when it comes to how their father dealt with them. So, alright, so we'll continue with Leigh's route next time. Thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.